All right, everybody. So we should be live. And again, we have another one of our Meet the Outfitters. So those of you that have been with us before know that each week we're featuring a outfitter here in Ontario. And it's a chance for you to ask them any questions and get your information and your questions answered. So let me just get my voice down here. So we're pleased to be joined with Mary Jo and Roger from Elk Lake Wilderness Resort, who are going to share information about your outfit, and people can ask questions. So if you're with us live on Facebook, down in the comments section, simply type in a question that you might have, and we're going to answer those questions along the line. I'm just going to check to make sure, see if anything's up there right now. And I'm not seeing any questions yet. So why don't we start? So we're going to pass it over to you. So first of all, thanks very much for joining us, and thanks for being willing to do this. I'm hoping, Mary Jo and Roger, I'm going to pass it over to you. Maybe you could introduce yourself to the group, tell us a little bit about yourself, and big picture about your operation.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Hi, Scott. Thanks so much for having us. I think this is a great idea. We've been looking forward to it since you kind of introduced us to it. So here we are. We're here. We are Mary Jo and Roger. We own Elk Lake Wilderness Resort, which is in northeastern Ontario. So if you're looking from Toronto, we're about 5.5 hours door to door. Hamilton, little over almost 6.5. We are about 45 minutes west of New Liskeard, in right outside of a small town called Elk Lake, with a population of 428 people. Go ahead.
As you can see by the slide, that's our resort there. We've got 10 waterfront cottages, central docking system with a central fire pit, and the building in the center is the house and the restaurant. So we're a 4-season resort. We focus on families and things in the summer, and in the wintertime, we focus on snowmobiling with a little bit of ice fishing. Fishing here is fantastic, but we'll get into that later.
You betcha.
He's talking about families, mostly families who fish, sometimes families who don't fish, and very often also groups of fishermen that come up. And it's a great place to come, whether or not you're like a group that's really seriously into fishing, or a family who just wants to throw a line in and maybe catch a fish or two, or do other things all week while you're here as well. So we kind of have the best of both worlds.
Okay. Super. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the seasons that you operate?
Yeah. Well, I can start. So fishing really picks up for us right at the end of May. Gets better in June, and then stays really good all the way through till about October. We have we'll get into the species and stuff later on, but there are several species you can catch. And that's our summer business. Our fall and winter business, or our fall business, is really all about fishing also, and ATVing. Amazing place to ATV. Got tons and tons of crown land around us that you can hit without having to have a trail pass. And then the winter time is all about snowmobiling for us. So we have a snowmobilers package. We do nothing in wintertime except cater to snowmobilers. And also people who ice fish with their snowmobiles. There's a million back lakes you can get to here and catch really good fish.
Awesome. So I think we're going to spend some time talking about ATVs and back lakes and fishing and all that stuff. So why don't we tell you what? Why don't we start with this? And then I put this map up, and you were kind enough to put this because I think this is really unique for your operation. Because a lot of people from southwestern Ontario, when they think about going away on a fishing trip, they're thinking, "Oh my gosh, how far do I have to drive?" But in your case, not so far.
It's not a bad location, Scott. We're straight up Highway 11. So if you're coming out of Toronto, you hit Highway 11 and you bring that all the way up into New Liskeard. It's now called Temiskaming Shores. And you head west from there right on Highway 65, and we're right off the highway. So it's incredibly easy. It's highway driving all the way. And we're a gravel driveway right out to the road, which is only maybe a half a kilometer from the highway to your cottage door.
That's great, right?
It's remote when you're, sorry, Scott, it still feels remote while you're here. You know, we're surrounded by bush, so you don't feel like you're right next to a highway. It's just easy access, and we're right on the Montreal River.
right, which is beautiful in itself. So, you know, for those of you that are looking at your options, you know, sometimes to consider, one of the big considerations is driving distance and how long. And I think that's a real bonus for you. So one of the other things that I know that's really neat about where you're located is the zone. So we talk about fishing zones. So why don't you tell us about the fishing zone as it relates to your operation?
So we're in a really, really unique location. So our dock is located in zone 11. If you're standing on the dock looking west, the bridge in town in Elk Lake divides between zone 11 and zone 8. So bass is open year round in zone 8. So from our dock, you can fish bass year round. It's a really, really interesting thing. And then a lot of the back lakes we go to are in zone 10. They're a 25, 30-minute drive, a little bit farther if you get down in there. So we can fish 3 fishing zones right out of this property. It's really unique.
Awesome. And that is kind of unique because even bass, because I know bass fishermen, typically where I fish, you know, we're waiting third Saturday in June, you know.
Right.
So in your case, and I think we can see on the picture, not only do you have good season for bass, you got big bass.
We do. It's really odd. So I grew up fishing the French and Pickerel rivers as a kid, and bass were incredibly plentiful, but nothing huge. And I would say the majority of the bass that are brought in here are well over 4 pounds. It's a really, really interesting. You know, we don't get a ton. You can get a really nice boat full in a day. If you're lucky, but they're hard to target, but they're big. Like it's really weird. It's nice.
I would say the bass kind of take you by surprise here. You know, you'll be fishing for something else, and all of a sudden you'll hit this big bass, and people are so surprised by it. So, and they're fun to catch.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Super. All right, let's keep curling here. So let's talk a little bit about the species that are available for, you know, people that come to visit you. And what I'll do is I'll throw a few different shots up as you talk about that.
Well, that one right there is a shameless plug. That was me. We own a fishing resort and we never get to fish. So that was one of the few times that Mary Jo and I we got out. And I caught that beauty right there. That was in just one of the back lakes we go into. We just went out for a few hours to give it a shot, and that's what we caught. And so it's pretty spectacular. So that lake, that one was on. It's a nice, easy drive-to lake. It's got obviously pickerel, pike, bass. It's one of our favorites amongst our groups.
Beautiful. I'm just looking to see if people have comments here. So if you do have comments, just type them in the box there, and we'll get a look at them. And I think we're getting caught up here. So just bear with us, folks. I just want to make sure that I am getting your comments as they come in. All right, we're looking good. Okay, so we got smallmouth bass, we got walleye. What else? What else do you have that people can fish for?
So in the river itself, right off the dock, we've got pickerel, pike, bass, perch, rock bass, ling, and whitefish. Those are the species that are right here in the river. The majority of those you can catch literally right off the dock. In the back lakes, we cover pretty much all the trout species. You got rainbow trout, we've got splake, we've got lake trout, rainbows, I think I said, brookies. And we've also got aurora trout in the area. So that's a really, really, really cool thing. If you do your homework, you can get into one of the aurora trout lakes every year.
Awesome. And so I think that's important to note there is that, you know, if you're staying on the camp itself, because you're right on the Montreal River, and you're going to walk down and you got a chance at some great fishing. One of the questions people ask often is, they try and parse lakes out or river systems out. They say, you know, is it a trophy system? Is it a numbers system? You know, how would you best categorize, you know, what the fishing opportunities are for you?
Well, first of all, there's 41 navigable kilometers from our resort. So we're about 2/3 of the way down. 2/3 of it are one way, 1/3 of it are another. It ends in a hydro dam at one end and a set of rapids at the other. But it's a lot of river that you can fish. Our river is all sand bottom. There's no rocks. You can't really hit anything. Which is great for us because we rent boats, so it's it makes it really easy for our guests. They say, what do I watch out for? Really nothing. You watch out for maybe if you see another boat, which is rare. Yes, the thing that you're fishing for here is depth. So our river goes anywhere from 6 feet all the way down to 120, and just instantly it'll go, from 80 to 120, and then up to 8, and then down to 20, and it opens into a really nice lake called Mountain Lake that is sort of a big shallow lake with a channel that runs through the center of it. So there are and some holes in it, which are really cool places to catch walleye, and really nice weed beds for pike.
Yeah, as far as trophy fishing, what we always tell our guests are there's trophy fish in the river, but we're not a trophy fishing destination. We're the place you want to come to catch fish. Yeah, sort of have to work at not catching fish here. We've seen some big fish come in, but that's not who we are. That's a different destination. We're about going out, having a nice day catching fish.
And limiting out in the species that probably if you want to keep your fish, if you're not, like we really do advocate for catch and release, especially the big ones. But if you want to keep some fish, it's very easy to catch your limit in a day.
Awesome. And so I always like to disclose this to people. So I've been to Elk Lake Wilderness Resort, so I have fished Elk Lake Wilderness Resort, so I can speak to it. And it's funny you mentioned Mountain Lake. The big bass that we showed earlier, that was caught actually in Mountain. And having driven that river, there's lots of drop-offs and lots of great structure for people to attack out there. You got a picture on the screen here right now. Nice big pike. So I mean, clearly, and I always say this: every system has big fish. So what a great surprise if you get yourself into a big monster fish, but it sounds to me like, kind of consistent numbers are really your claim to fame.
Yeah, that's exactly who we are. Like, it's not uncommon to see those pictures of these fish coming in. We've got 10 cottages, so if you've got 40 people in camp, you're going to see one of those caught every week. But that's not who we are. Like, that's a lot of people putting a lot of time on the river to catch a fish like that, but you'll catch 45 or 50 pike in a day.
Great. Well, listen, let's take a shot at some of the back lakes, because I think that's a really neat thing. You don't have just the Montreal River in front of you. Why don't you give us a quick overview of the back lake options for people?
Okay, so that picture you've got up right now is Hubert Lake. That's a drive-to lake where we take a boat in, we throw it in. We've got some beautiful brand new Evinrude 4-stroke motors. We've got some brand new Mercs as well. So that's a beautiful lake. That's the one that the picture with me on. That was it's a pickerel, pike, and bass lake. It's a relatively big lake. There's, I think, 12 or 14 small islands on this lake. I think you went into that one, Scott.
Yeah, so I fished Hubert. This one actually, Roger, isn't Hubert. We were fishing for splake on this one. I forget the name of it.
Is that the okay? So that's Silver Clan.
That's the one.
That's a really good splake lake. The guys that come up to do fly fishing seminars, those are their two favorite lakes, Hubert and this one. Last year they went in, and the first 3.5 hours I think they were in, they limited out in splake. They don't keep anything ever.
Wow.
So they all went back. But yeah, that's Silver Clan, and that's a nice easy drive to lake as well.
And so when you go to these lakes, and I know you've got an assortment of them, are the boats already there? Do you take the boats with you? Like, do you have to book it? How does that work for the guests?
So we have a bunch of different boats that we can take in. So we've got some Lunds, some 12-foot Lund Deluxes that we can take in, and we also got some John boats we bought last year. So we kind of pick the boat that's best suited to your group. I know when you start getting up into my age, the flat bottom John boats, although they're a little more comfortable to stand, they're a little bit less comfortable after a long day. So we'll take those in. If you want to fish 3 people out of a boat, we'll take the ones, the standard boats in.
Dynamite.
Adventures work is sorry, Scott, we used to, it used to be included. Now it's sort of an add-on to your package. So if you want to book a backlake adventure, we would just let you talk about what species you want to catch, how long you want your day to be, that kind of thing. And then we would take you to the best lake, that fits. And that is like an add-on to your package if you want to do that.
That's great then. So you can kind of pick and choose, and if assuming there's availability, if all of a sudden you get excited to say let's give it a try, they just give you a shout.
Right.
Awesome. So one of the things that I know it's becoming really popular, and so when I was up with you, I don't know if it's happened after the fact, but fly fishing has really kind of taken hold. Why don't you tell us a little bit about fly fishing and the relationship between fly fishing and Elk Lake Wilderness Resort?
So this is really cool. We met these fellas from Toronto, and they've got their own little podcast and thing going on, and the group's called SoFly. And they came up here, gave a demonstration, a whole educational seminar. They had people out the back in our pavilion. We had people 70 down to 7 years old learning how to fly fish from these guys, and they were incredible.
Awesome.
So they did this whole demonstration, and they took that whole aura of being a high class, no one ever does it, to bring it right down where Mary Jo and I actually went out and got fly rods because we could actually use them. So we work with a little company out of Toronto called Drift Outfitters as well. So they'll ship stuff up here for us. If we've got questions or guests want to learn, they can phone down while they're here, talk to guys at Drift, or get on the phone with the guys from SoFly. And fly fishing is incredible. You can fish for anything. I didn't know that. These guys were fishing for walleye, fly fishing.
Yeah, that's great.
So, social media presence. Sorry, Scott. SoFly has a great social media presence. So if you want to check out their group, they've got podcasts, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they've got their own website, and it's just SoFly. Just how they're really, really personable guys. They're passionate about fly fishing. And they catch fish. They catch every species. They caught everything. They caught walleye, they caught pike, they caught bass. They came up to fish for aurora trout because this is the only place in the world that actually has aurora trout, our northeastern Ontario. So they came up and went into one of the back lakes, and the aurora trout are super elusive. But they had a really great day doing that. So I would definitely suggest you check them out. And Drift Outfitters, if anybody wants to get started with fly fishing, it's a great place to start in Toronto.
Okay, and so those of you, by the way, when you see me look off screen, I'm just reading the notes that are, coming in comments. Something that I just thought about, you'd mentioned that these guys will ship items up, and in the notes, so everybody that's listening, this will be recorded. We're going to put this on the YouTube channel, and in the notes, if you want, Roger, Mary Jo, I'll put in the information about SoFly and Drift Outfitters. But you also have like a tackle shop. I don't want to call it that, but you can buy some supplies on site as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, we carry a lot of the basics. So fishing out of here is pretty simple. So buzz bait, spinner bait, spoons, and jigs. That's really all you need. So we carry leaders and sinkers and bobbers, and we carry a selection of fishing rods, everything from entry level right up to pretty high end. We don't carry many, 1 or 2 of each, but yeah, we've got an on-site tackle shop, so we're fairly well equipped in that sense.
Awesome. So we've kind of covered off, we got the fishing that's on the river right out front. We got the back lakes, we got fly fishing, and I'm thinking fly fishing in those back lakes, have to go, hand in glove. But another category for you, I know, is that you attract a lot of families. I'm wondering if you could comment on what the family experience is like at Elk Lake.
Well, it's great. I mean, we have 10 cottages at any given time. There'll be a bunch of kids running around, all playing together. So very, very kid-friendly place, and I would say couples-friendly place also, because you'll get to our cottages later, but they're really comfortable, and you're not roughing it in any sense. So you don't get whiny kids complaining. There's satellite TV in all the cottages. So on a rainy day, there's still things to do. So there's a central fire pit that you can see the photo of there at the bottom. And that's a great place for everybody to meet and congregate and make s'mores and that kind of thing. Right behind it, you'll see there's a sauna and a little deck so you can, sit and overlook the river. We have a small beach. Always people on that beach. We actually built the beach because there wasn't one here, and we were really pleased with how it turned out. It's a really cute little beach. And then there's a water bouncer that you can see in the top picture there that you can swim out to. There's a little slide on it. There's that long thing that you can push your friends off of, and there's a place to sun yourself, and you can bounce on it. The other really cool thing is on our river, there is, if you go downriver a little bit, I guess technically it's upriver a little bit, there are these beautiful sandbars with absolutely stunning white sand beaches. And there's fire pits, so you can go there. You can spend the whole day on this beach. You can be the only people there probably. You can build a little fire, have your lunch, swim. You can throw a line in the water if you feel like it. But it's a beautiful way to spend the day.
Yeah. So if you guys are okay with it, got a couple questions that have come in here. Is there guiding service available if you were going to fish the river and or the back lakes?
So what we do is we don't have a guide, but I can take somebody out for half a day, show them the river. We found that what works best is we just pull up Google Earth and we give people the layout, because there's no nav chart for this river. So what we do is we pull it up on Google Earth, and by the time someone's asking those questions, we've had lots of feedback of where the fish are biting, what depths they're biting. So we can pretty much steer people in the right direction with the techniques that's working at that time of year and the depth. And so usually people can save their money by not having to pay for a guide on this river.
Beautiful. Okay. Here's another one.
If someone's really set on having a guide, we can provide that, no problem. We just don't always encourage it because you don't really need one.
Great. Here's a great question. It says, what is the typical, let me read it here. What's a good length of time to stay for a good experience? So, I mean, your average kind of guess, what's the average number of nights that they stay with you to kind of maximize their experience?
A week?
Well, in the summertime, we only book week to week. So we book Sunday to Sunday in July and August. Beyond that, I would say 5 days gives you a really good, introduction to the river. You'll definitely catch fish in those 5 days. Like if you're looking at spring or fall, that's a nice length of time to stay. Everyone seems to be unhappy to leave. So I would say the longer you have, the better you are.
Yeah. And for those that are, what's that, Roger?
Well, since we're on this slide and talking about family activities, to go with that question, it's kind of an open-ended question in the sense that there's all kinds of activities to do if you don't necessarily want to fish. We're just right on the edge of the Ispatina Ridge, which is the highest ridge in Ontario, and there's hiking trails you can walk to. The Hills Lake Fish Hatchery we did that for the first time this year, and you just simply drive up to this little fish hatchery in the middle of nowhere, and they walk you through and they show you the entire process of how they breed fish, and it's a free tour put on by the ministry. So if you're here to fish, there's tons to do. A week is good. It's easy to spend 2 weeks here and not have to do the same thing over and over. If you've got kids, you can do lots.
Great. All right, so let's keep going ahead there, and just so you know, folks, if you've got interest, I mean, at the end of this, we're gonna have a slide there with all of the coordinates for Elk Lake Wilderness Resort. You can phone them, you can email them. So this isn't your only opportunity to get your questions answered. It's the first shot. So let's talk a little bit about cabins, and we got a few pictures here. What have you got in the way of cabins? Can you talk about, how many people, they hold? What are the amenities and features in them?
So we have 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom cottages. They all have full kitchens, very much like the one that you see in this photograph. They all have living rooms with satellite TV. They have full bathrooms with shower, bathtub, toilet, sink. And then they generally are set up with a double bed in one of the rooms and 2 singles in the other bedrooms. And that varies a little bit depending on the cottage. But we tend to put people in the cottage that suits their group the best. So yeah, we have 10 of those. So I think 4 of them are 2 bedrooms and 6 of them are 3 bedrooms.
Awesome.
They all have decks. They all have decks on the outside as well. They have barbecues. We supply the propane. They all overlook the river.
Well, a comment came in. I just want to confirm this. Pets. Are people welcome to bring their pets to your establishment?
Yeah, we're very pet friendly. We have 4 bull mastiffs. And if you stay here, you probably will get a visit, especially at breakfast. If you're cooking bacon, and sometimes at dinner also. So yeah, we're very, very pet friendly. We really do a very thorough job of cleaning the cottages afterwards. We just say, like, if you have a friendly, well socialized dog, they're more than welcome. And we don't have a fee for that either.
Awesome. So I cut you off there. So we talked about the number of cabins at 10 and 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom. Generally speaking, are they fully equipped?
Yeah, everything.
Right. So
it comes with all your bedding.
So sorry, I'm just losing your audio for a section there, Mary Jo. Maybe you'll take it again.
Sure. I was just saying that all of the. Can you hear me now, Scott?
You're good.
Okay. All of the kitchens are fully equipped with everything you need. Dishes, utensils, pots, and pans. The bedding is included in the cottage, so you don't have to worry about bedding. All your pillows and sheets and everything. The only thing you bring if you're coming on the housekeeping plan, so if you're just renting a cottage, you bring your own towels, kitchen and bath towels. If you're here on the American plan, we supply that.
Got it. Okay. So, awesome. So we got great cabins, and I was there. I mean, it's great. Look at the view, right? So there's the view off of one of the decks. And so the other thing is, when we say that you're on the Montreal River, this is not a tiny narrow piece of water here. This is a big body of water. All right. So let's talk a little bit.
Down to places.
It does narrow down in place. I remember that. So can you tell us a little bit about boats? And we're going to talk about food shortly, but maybe take us through the boats. One, are people allowed to bring their own boats? Can they rent boats? Tell us about that.
So yes, you're more than welcome to bring your own boat. We've implemented a $10 a day docking fee this year if you bring your own boat.
Sure.
Our rental fleet, we have a brand spanking new 18-foot pontoon boat. We've got an older pontoon boat that we're rebuilding with a brand new 60 horsepower Merc on the back. Then we've got 2 premium boats. We've got a new Lund 17-foot with Bluetooth stereo, automatic live well, automatic bilge, swim platform, bow mount trolling motor. It's got a 60 on it. And then we have a little bit older Legend. We also repowered that with a brand new 60 Merc. So those are beautiful boats. Then we've got the side console Lund that's on the picture here with a new 40 horse Merc on it, bow mount trolling motor. Then we get down into our mid-class boats. That's our older pontoon boat right there that's been repowered with the 60 on it. Then the standard boats that we have now are 16-foot Lunds with power tilt and trim 25 horse Mercs on them.
Awesome. And so when we were talking, it sounded to me like if you book the American plan, which we're going to talk to, which, you know, all the meals included, a boat's included in that package. Could I also rent them, you know, off?
Yes. So with the American plan, we include our basic boat is the 16-foot lug with the 25 horsepower motor on the back, brand new motors. So those are the boats that come with the American plan. We find that, you know, lots of camps have 9.9s on the back, and that just doesn't get you where you need to be because we have so much water that you can access. The 25 horsepower gets you fishing faster. So that's included with the American plan and the modified American plan. And then if you're booking a housekeeping cottage, you have the option of bringing your own boat and just paying the docking fee, or you can rent one of our boats, any of the levels of our boats. Our 2 pontoons boats seat, I think one seats 6 and the other seats 10. So those are kind of good options, and a lot of older people like that. They're easy to get on and off of. They're comfortable. You can sit on them all day. You can put your whole family on it. You can put your dog in it. You know, it's very, very comfy. It's a comfy option.
So here's a question and this would cover, I think, boats, snowmobiles, and ATVs. Can I buy fuel off you if I need it?
Yeah, we have premium fuel on site all the time. So we do sell premium fuel.
Great. So that takes us into, let's talk a little bit. You got ATVs on this slide and snow machines on the next. Again, this is really showing the diversity of options available at your establishment. So tell us about ATVs, and then we're going to flip to snowmobiles.
So the ATV trails that are here, you simply take the highway down to an old railway crossing.
Very short.
Yeah, it's about 2 kilometers. And then you get on an old rail bed, and that takes you back to the logging roads, which you can do about 250 kilometers of actual logging road. It takes you into various back lakes, old abandoned mine sites. There's also a gentleman in town that likes to take people out for a ride. So I don't know what he charges. He does charge something. I don't know what it is, but he takes people out, and that's all he does. Like, he rides, I think, 20,000 kilometers a year he puts on his ATV. So he knows every rock and tree that there is. Yeah, so he's a really, really good guy to give a call and say, listen, like, I want to go see something cool. And that's where he takes you.
Awesome. And so we got ATV. Now, do you rent ATVs, or is this bring your own?
We don't personally rent them. There's a company in New Liskeard that rents ATVs, and they will actually deliver them here for you. I don't know what their fee is, but they'll actually bring them out. They're an Arctic Cat dealer. So they'll bring their Textron machines out here and deliver them right here.
It doesn't get any easier than that.
No.
Now, although I was going to say it doesn't look like this nowadays, but actually we've recently had some snow at the time of this recording. But why don't you tell us about, you know, snowmobiling, because that's become a really important business line for you guys.
Right.
So yeah, we got over 10 centimeters yesterday, which in January we jump up and down with joy for, but at the end of April we're like, okay, nice joke. That's funny. In any case, snowmobiling is huge here. We have so much snow. We tend to have pretty much the first snow of the year, Cochrane and us, at the same time. I'm not sure why we tend to have more snow than even 45 minutes down the road in New Liskeard, but our trails were open before Christmas this year. And we had people here right from the middle of December because we have such amazing backcountry experiences and backcountry access that we had people riding that all the way till the end of March this year, right from the middle of December. The trail system in our neck of the woods is impeccable. Our club is fantastic. They groom them really, really well. Out of here, you can do either day loops, so you can stay here 4 or 5 days, which a lot of people do, and they'll do different day loops each of those days, or they'll spend a day in backcountry. And it's not the kind of backcountry where you have to worry about, an avalanche or getting terribly stuck. It's all logging roads, so you have a good base under you. In any case, tons of snowmobiling opportunity, and our snowmobilers sometimes come back 2 or 3 times in a season.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we should really go back. Let's go back to that destination again, because really, it's not a long drive to get exceptional snow conditions. And I know folks that are driving into Quebec or way north to get snow, and you've got it right there.
We do, and the other thing that's starting to take off too is the snowmobile ice fishing. That's
right.
We're not an ice fishing destination unless you've got a snowmobile. And if you do, it's really, really good. We've got splake, we've got brook trout, lake trout. Just got to watch your seasons according to the zone that you're fishing, because you can fish the 3 different ones out of here. But yeah, the ice fishing's really taking off for the snowmobiling.
Right. I mean, that sounds great in the sense that, I can get out there and be remote ice fishing on the day, but I can still come back to great accommodations. And what we're about to talk about is really spectacular food. So
yes.
let's take a little transition here and tell us about your food options, which I can tell you from eating it, you're not going to find better food. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
Well, thank you for saying that, Scott. So we really take a lot of pride in what we serve our guests. We love to cook. We have a live-in employee who's basically part of our family now, and she's a fantastic cook as well. Every meal is different, and it's all homemade. So the really cool thing about our meal plan, and that I think it's one of the ways that we differ from some of the other resorts and lodges, is that you pick when you're going to eat. So we don't tell you that you have a dinner sitting at 6:30 and you have to be back in time for dinner. You tell us what time you want to eat. And if you want to eat at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, that's fine. If you want to eat at 5 o'clock or 4:30, that's also fine. And we deliver your dinner to your cottage at that time, and you sit in your own kitchen and you eat your meal in your own cottage.
Yeah.
I think the thing that used to rub me the wrong way when I used to go on fishing trips was the set time to eat. So fish don't go by a schedule. So you'd be out fishing, 7-8 miles down the river, and all of a sudden the bite hits, and you look at your watch and you're like, well, I've got 2 choices. I can either stay and catch fish all night, or I can go back and eat. So that was one thing we were dead set against. So even if you've set a time to eat, it doesn't matter. Like, we will wait for you and bring your food to your cottage when you get back.
Yeah. And so can you,
provided, sorry, breakfast,
Well,
I was just going to talk about breakfast a bit.
That's where I was going to go on this. Yeah. So tell us about that, because I think that this is a really neat thing that you do. Okay.
So when you arrive, your breakfast goods are already in your cottage for you. So we give you a basket, and in that basket, and in your fridge and on your counter, you have everything you need. We give you bacon and pea meal and eggs and potatoes and butter and peanut butter and jam and bread and milk and juice, coffee and tea, everything you could possibly want for a really good breakfast. And you make your own breakfast in your own cottage at your own convenience. So Roger always says to the guys, listen, you're not a real man unless you fry bacon with no shirt on. So you can't do that. You can't do that here in the restaurant. You have to do that in your own cottage. So that's kind of very convenient for people. Everyone seems to like that because, again, you don't have to get dressed and go up to the restaurant at a specific time. It's your vacation. If you want to sleep in and you want to eat at 9:30 or 10, or you want to go fishing at 5 and then come back at 10 and eat, that's totally fine. You can do it. You're on your own schedule.
And I would guess also, if you've got a group, not everybody in the group always wants to get up at the same time. So it also creates flexibility within the vacationers themselves.
Exactly.
And I can say from my experience there that, you certainly don't short anybody. There was ample supplies in that box, and lots. It's just so many options. It wasn't like, there was enough food for 3 meals and that's it. You had lots of choice, which was really great, right? That flexibility.
Yeah, for sure. And so one of the biggest complaints we get is that there's too much food. And that's not something we can change, because some people polish it all off and some people like only eat half of it. So we want to make sure no one goes underfed or goes hungry. And then the breakfast stuff, if you run out partway through the week, we just replenish it. So it's not, it's basically all you can eat. You don't have to ration yourself. You just eat
Awesome.
what you want. Yeah.
So we've got the breakfast basket. We know that the dinners are made set, not at a set time. You basically, if you said, hey, listen, we think we're going to be at around 7 o'clock, that's when the dinner's going to be. Why don't you tell us about how the lunches work?
Sure. So with lunches, when we deliver your dinner at night, we also deliver your lunch for the next day. And your lunch comes in a box. It's a cardboard box, and you get, generally you get a big sandwich. We tend to not use regular luncheon meat. We will cook a roast beef and we'll carve it, or we'll cook some chickens and carve them and use that meat for your sandwich. Always a big sandwich, lots of veggies on it. And then there's usually some homemade baking in there. There's a drink, there's some granola bars, and always some fruit. So nice big lunches that'll hold you over for the day. And obviously with all of this food, we work around any kind of dietary restriction. We've done everything. We've done gluten-free, we've done vegan, we've done no soy, we've done lactose-free, we've done egg allergies. We've done it all. So we can get around any kind of dietary restriction that people have.
Yeah.
So that's a picture of the guys eating their lunch on a back lake.
Yeah, and I experienced it. It's it's fabulous. I was gonna ask a question there, but I think you covered it as far as the meal plans and goes. What about, does it differ, like if you've got, say, 4 anglers versus a family with kids, right? Do you cater the meal to kids as well? Like, some of these parents are worried about, I've got picky eaters. Are they going to be satisfied?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We've done picky kid. That's probably the hardest one to do. And you have to remember, kids under, I think, 6 are free. So, they tend to eat off their parents' plate anyway, but we'll work around anything. So you just let us know how you want your kid to eat, and we will make sure that happens. We also try to throw in the odd sort of, junk food. It's not really junk, but we have a pizza night as a rule. We have a pizza oven here. We make fantastic pizza. So we tend to have at least one pizza night during the week. And that makes every kid happy. So
right, you bet. So, for those of you that aren't familiar, American Plan is when all the meals are included. Housekeeping is when you bring your own foodstuffs, but you're using the equipment from the cabin. But there's also something called modified. So maybe you could touch on what the modified plan is.
Yeah, so modified it includes everything that the American Plan package includes except for breakfast and lunch. So it provides you with your dinner each day.
Right. So that's, so the
which
people
is kind
that
of
say,
nice when you're on vacation, it's nice to know that you're going to have some pampering, that you don't have to do all the work.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, and less cleanup, it's it's a real treat. So what we got here now is, so people that have got questions, right? So you can put them into the comment box right now. We can take a shot at answering them. But up on the screen, you've got coordinates. So here's your options. You can go to elklakewilderness.com for the website. Their phone is right there up on the screen right now, 705-679-4041. And then there's Elk Lake Wilderness Outlook.com. So you can go that way. We're going to have this recorded as well on YouTube, and so we're going to have all of the contact in the show notes as well, and that'll be youtube.com, the Canadian Fisherman. Just want to take a look here to see if I'm missing any questions here. Right, so this is actually a comment, must be from one of your guests, to comment that not only is the meal plan kid friendly, but the resort is kid friendly as well, with activities as well. Maybe you can touch on how you make the resort kid friendly.
Well, I don't know. There always seems to be a kid in our house. We turn around and there's a child in our house petting our dogs. I think, we're just really welcoming to kids. They tend to like to be here with us. We also have games. We have hundreds of movies, and there's DVD players in every cottage. It's just a really fun place for kids. Roger takes kids on tractor rides sometimes, and it's just a really fun sort of homey place to be.
I think one of the things, Scott, that differentiates us between some other places is the lack of rules we have around here. So when someone says, can I do this or can I do that? Usually the answer is, well, absolutely. So we don't have a fire out time. We don't have any strict rules. We just tell people, be respectful. That's the big thing. And when you leave it wide open like that, just be respectful. People get that. They understand that they're, they don't want to bug the person next to them. So, it's not uncommon to see people out by our pavilion at 2:00 in the morning, having a fire and having a beer and telling fish stories. And that's how it should be. That's what holidays are all about.
Awesome. So listen, before we wrap things up, is there anything that we didn't cover that you think we should have? Have we missed anything?
One thing I wanted to say, Scott, and that is due to the whole isolation situation that we're all in right now, Roger and I are doing our part and encouraging everyone to do their part to make sure that we are being as responsible as we can to end this as soon as possible. We feel like we don't know any more than anyone else does, but we feel like we're going to be able to salvage at least part of our season this year. So we are taking reservations, but we are not taking deposits. So if you want to call and see what's available, you're more than welcome to book in. And then once everything gets lifted, we'll arrange deposits at that point. But in the meantime, we're not taking deposits because, we don't know what's going to happen, and neither does anyone else. So we figure this is the best way to move forward.
Beautiful. Well, listen, folks, so let quick summary. If you like to fish, check. If you like to go boating, check. If you're families, you like back lakes, you ATV, you snowmobile. So basically, if you like the outdoors and you like vacations, Elk Lake Wilderness Resort should be on the list.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, listen, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Lots of people online here. Oh, okay. One last question. Is there a playground or any type of games available on site?
Yeah, there is a playground. There's swing sets and monkey bars and a really tall slide. And there's horseshoe pits, and we've got like those lawn golf ball things.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
Pit.
Yeah, a horseshoe pit. I said that. So yeah, there are. This year, the plan is the plan is this year to get a badminton net as well. So that'll be fun. But and then there's the water bouncer too. So yeah, there are places to play.
All right. Well, listen, any other questions, reach out to Roger and Mary Jo. Thanks very much, and thanks for everybody that attended. I'm going to shut things down.